I just turned this little thing and something just snapped off, but it's holding really well. Even better. I don't know. I hope that, all of the 2 people that watch this can hear over the torrential rain that's smacking onto the windshield. But it's Monday, and yeah, it wasn't even raining until just now. So weird. So weird. Rained all weekend, so it wasn't really the greatest day for outdoor stuff. But I was able to spend a few minutes with friends and family. I know I have not been the most upbeat person the past week, and there's a lot going on that I don't have answers to. It's the uncertainty of shit that kills me, and that's like life in a nutshell, right? We cannot control the results. We can only control our efforts. We can only control our actions, our thoughts. To an extent, you can't. Sometimes thoughts come in and like, excuse me, who do you belong to? Where'd that one come from? You don't have to attach to it. Like, Rob Zombie is not a serial killer, but he makes some wild music and some fucked up movies. Turns out he's actually like a really nice guy, from what I've been told. But I think that's just where, I have to be, and where we all have to be. Just generally, listening to another podcast, and they were talking about what's called a reverse bucket list. And it's like I really, really like this idea. In fact, since my birthday's tomorrow, I'll probably do it. But what he did, because he would have this bucket list, he made one at 40, he looked at it at 50, he had crossed everything out, and he was more depressed than ever. And so what he started doing, he's a social scientist, started taking things that he had been so attached to and then looking at them and detaching, unattaching, right? Crossing them out. And, it could have been like being attached to the thought of having a ton of money and having a big house and having these things. He used the opposite effect in saying, these are not going to bring me happiness. I'm going to unattach from these. And essentially his whole concept, and I'm only half hour in, his whole concept was unattaching from things and being okay in that moment. I may never get millions of dollars. Okay, I may never have that mansion. I may never have that perfect partner. And you just cross them out, and you can sit with that a little bit better and just be happier that for what you do have. It kind of just goes hand in hand with gratefulness. And it's not that we don't aspire to have these things, we just don't attach them, because we can't control whether or not they happen to some extent. I can still give my absolute best efforts, but if it doesn't pan out my way, then it doesn't pan out my way. It doesn't mean something else won't be there. It's just that. Look at that, rain stopped. It's just that we need to be a little bit more zen. And this doesn't mean that you don't work hard to, accumulate some wealth so that you can survive in this financial world. It doesn't mean that you don't try to figure out how to get a house, a nice house, whatever. And it doesn't mean that you don't work on things with your partner, because you're going to hit those bumps. It's just part of growth. And it's part of figuring this shit out. But you have to be willing to do the work. And that's... every time I talk about this shit, it's doing the work. There's no shortcuts in anything. What? I can't, except for Mario. This is no shortcuts. Right? Everyone's got to do work. Everyone. You got to do work in your marriage. You got to do work in your friendships. You have to do work in at work. Even on the things that you love, your passions, your hobbies. You can't, if you're a painter, you can't just done. No, you got to sit there and you got to work on it. Okay, not happy with this one. Maybe tomorrow. Come back, you do it again. You do it again. You do it, and it gets better and better and better. And you get more okay with it. I was talking with my brother about tattooing. I was like, this is excellent. You've been putting in the work. It's time to pull the trigger and put it on someone's skin. Well, I'm scared. It's permanent. It doesn't matter. That's, you just got to do it. You just got to do it. You got to pull a trigger, get over that little fear. There are things we're supposed to be scared of, like lions and tigers, and then there's shit that's in our own head. And that's one of the examples of being in your own head. I'm trying to keep these a little bit shorter, probably those 12, 13 minutes. No one has that attention span anymore, so. Unattach. Doesn't mean be cold. It just means that you cannot control the results. Control your efforts, but be okay with whatever happens, because tell me a time it didn't get better. We suffer in our minds more than we actually do. Suffering is a part of life, and just work through it, detach, and just know that things will get better. I hope you have a great Monday. It's just liquid sunshine.